Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. It's just past 4. I will call it order. For a roll call, I'll just note that all board members are present. And we'll move forward with the approval of the April 14th regular meeting minutes. So move. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed?
Did you want some discussion?
No, not a bit. I'm
Sorry.
I like punctuality. Okay, and then next the approval of the dockets.
I have one additional claim to add in. Fortunately, Melinda is already on vacation whenever the Maxwell claim came in, but I've reviewed it for $128,330.05 that I'd like to add. I already talked with Janet down at the Clerk Treasurer's office about this claim and adding it like this. She approved that. She will have the signature ready for you at some point here in the future.
Is that the last Maxwell?
Now there's one more. We have retainage of $38,144 to go.
Okay, so after that, there's not a lot left.
Yeah, still be $38,000 left.
You made any questions? That's the claims.
Is that contingency or where is that?
It's retainage. Yeah, so it's 10% of their or 5% of their overall contract. I think that's what we agreed to.
I move we approve.
Yeah.
Second. Okay, and then any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, on to new business. Discussion and request for approval on amendment of lease of property at 950 West, 450 South.
You had received in your email this lease, the first addendum for the long-term lease at that address. The company is looking to possibly expand, so they need to get this area under lease so that they can start doing some soil borings and some additional environmental on that section. This is a request for slightly over 13 acres. After looking at their current price per acre rate, we thought that was too low. We started going through and looking at some additional what the price per acre rate was on surrounding land, and then also the price for the area. We came to an agreement on $2,000 an acre a year. So you'll see that as part of that long-term land lease. Everyone received a copy of that last week, at the end of the week last week. No changes. Actually, I think there was one small change that just stipulated how many acres was the total, and then how many acres that was including as part of the total as well. Any other questions that you might have? Yes, sir.
Questions from the board? There's all the normal stuff in here we put about
Yeah, Mike had
process, I guess.
Yeah, Mike had reviewed, and Mike, do you have any other comments to the lease?
No, that was just kind of to get the site under control so that some of that work that Brian was describing started and had a time period on that. I think 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. If for any reason that the project doesn't move forward in 6 months, it'll revert back to land at the airport. We'll then again be taken out of that lease. But obviously, the goal at this point is to get the project started and move forward by that point.
Yeah. So, part of this, there's sections about declaring an economic development project and kind of all the pieces that need to be in here to make this move forward so it can progress from a timeline perspective.
And that document is really just saying that process would be followed, and we would still go through all of those steps.
Any questions or comments? Questions or comments from the public?
Effects on our RFP, Brian?
The effects on the RFP would, if this development would go forward, that we would reduce the amount in the RFP by set amount.
What was it, 7?
The total will be somewhat 37. We've not
37.
acres.
And is 777 total right now?
That's correct. That's what the RFP calls out for right now.
I move that we approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Thank you. Okay. Discussion and request for approval on amendment to lease of West 450 South.
As part of the same form of project, just next door, there needs to be an additional 0.88 acres from the tenant there at, or the address was called at 150 West 450 South. It is a reduction of 0.88 acres, and they are not asking for any reduction on their rents for that 0.88 acres. Mike?
I would just add on this one that to the question of, impact on the RFP, regardless of the specific project we're talking about, getting this taken care of now, I think is a benefit to the overall RFP, because that frontage, all along there was under lease. And so this process would have to happen sooner or later if there was going to be access off of 58. So I think getting this cleared up now is a good thing for the overall process as well.
Is this the orphan triangle?
There's a great, yes, that is a good description.
Well, the orphan triangle.
It shows up if you would look at it. It's just a small sliver that's there by itself. And I think a little bit to the side, but it was, basically that small triangle.
Any other discussion? Board?
From the public.
Public?
There's that many out there.
Well, I move that we approve this lease, this amendment to lease as well.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that passes too, great. Okay, next, discussion and request for approval on hangar lease assignment, 2045 West Taxiway Lot E.
This hangar assignment is from Shed L&M to Ogle, Steve Ogle. This is the hangar building that is closest to Taxiway Charlie, on that west side. We're just a couple down from where Dick is at, where that's at. Simple lease assignment from one to another. Mike has reviewed this. We've made the changes that Mike had requested in that document.
Move we approve the hangar lease assignment for 2045 West Taxiway Drive.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next is discussion request for approval of the Jeff Fair lease.
The Jeff Fair lease, we had given that to Jeff Fair. They had given it to their attorney, who has a couple of comments on it at this point. We requested it be tabled for now, with the possibility of going on to our special meeting next week, if not the following month. So there was just a couple of clarification errors. Mike also had a couple of comments to the original lease that we had sent out as well. So we'll incorporate all those and bring that before you at another day.
I talked to Tom, and he's basically fine with all of the intent and everything in there. He just wanted to get some clerical things taken care of. So there's no major concerns at this point.
And everything has gone well since they've taken over, nearly as I can see.
It's gone very well.
It's
gone very well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, more than well. So we'll just table this.
That's what I would request.
I don't think we need to formally table it, do we? Next is discussion request for approval and reduction of lease payment for Jeff Air in exchange for roof repair on East Hangar. So, as you're well aware, the Jeff Air now has possession of both the East Hangar, which is the old terminal building, old transient hangar, as well as the Round Top Hangar. The aircraft maintenance company that we decided with, the airport board gave them approval on, have started to move in and started already doing work. So that's very exciting. The East Hangar, we found, had some additional roof leaks that we were not aware of. No one had made us aware of those leaks in the past. We had received bids anywhere from $5,700 up to, Carlos, what was the max on that one? Do you remember?
The
So it's a kind of a gamut of different ways to have approached that. It's not the hangar itself, but it's the adjacent office area. And Andy is essentially unwilling at this point to move into that office area and hangar building until the roof gets fixed. We, as the airport, agreed that we would fix the gutters, but we just don't have it in our budget through the rest of the year for an additional $5,000 to $10,000 hit to repair a roof. And again, had we have known about it, we would have properly budgeted for it. At this point, I would request, and Jeff Air is willing to do so, that we reduce Jeff Air is willing to pay to have this done, and we reduce the Jeff Air lease, the monthly lease, by said amount. I think the low was $5,700. Jeff Air has those. They were supposed to be here to be able to present those bids to us today, but I believe it was around $5,700. So I would request that we reduce their monthly lease to the airport by that amount of the repair.
Over what period of time?
Just however long it takes, probably the next month and a half. I think their typical payment is $3,400, $3,480, somewhere around there, for what they have. So we would be reducing it for the next month and a quarter, month and a half. That number is. And again, this is so that that work can be done immediately without having to wait on us to go through another budget cycle. Because at this point, unfortunately, I don't think we have another $5,000 to $10,000 to spare this year. It is going to be very tight at the end of the year for us.
Are the minutes of this meeting proper documentation for a deal like this?
I think we would have a follow-up document that we would probably have maybe Caleb sign, have Jeff Air sign to show that that has happened. I mean, from an approval standpoint, I think you can approve it here, but from a documentation standpoint, it wouldn't hurt to have that
I mean, the State Board of Accounts is gonna
tucked in.
wanna see, you're gonna find that at some point, right?
Correct.
Wanna know where that was authorized.
Correct.
We'll draft a document up that says that.
Discussion from the board? Discussion from the public?
It's a good move on Brian's part because we could get it done without, like I say, having to go through special appropriation. It's dollars out of our pocket, doesn't make a difference how it comes out. So, and it moves the overall ball forward in terms of getting Andy in there and getting maintenance folks in there. So have a win-win-win. Nice job, Brian.
Open to the public.
I asked, nobody wanted to.
Oh, sorry.
say anything. Okay, well, I move
That we approve the reduction of lease payment.
You need to put the dollar amount and time on there.
Or the amount
The
of
lowest.
lowest bid.
Second. Second. Okay, any last discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I'll sign that one and get it
Thank you.
taken care of. Next is discussion request for approval on conference room rental and deposit policy.
So now that we have such a nice space down here to rent out and upstairs as well, we, in particular, we had an incident this weekend when the room, when we got here, well, when I got here on Sunday to show the space off, it was already wrecked. There was an event that had taken place on Saturday. A lot of black fingerprints on all the walls, the floor, a lot of cake and things were on the floor. We ended up having to mop up. So it wasn't a great deal of amount of work, but it had to pull our maintenance staff off of doing what they were doing to come and clean the space up. So we had, and it just so happened that happened on Saturday. We had already been talking about a security deposit of some kind. So we had drafted this deposit policy. So this is a security deposit of $150 plus the rental fee. And essentially what it is, it's if we had to come down and do any amount of work, it would take $25 per hour to return that space back to its original condition, including cleaning the floors, the walls, and the tables. And any significant amount of damage would obviously immediately cause a loss of the entire security deposit or more, depending on how substantial that damage was. And then also a loss of rental privileges for the future. Be holding that check in a deposit box that we have as the airport, and then refunding that check should no damage be done. Should any damage be done, then we would deposit and rewrite them a check for however much.
So you're gonna require them to give 2 separate checks then?
Yes, we are requiring 2 separate checks. If we automatically deposit it, and if it was, so say it's cash, and we deposit that cash, it takes us to the next airport board meeting to be able to refund that. So, from a state board of accounts standpoint, and the treasurer's, or the clerk treasurer's office requested that we have a policy in place, and this is the policy that we wrote. Mike has reviewed this policy. That's what we'd like to move forward with.
Do you think anybody's gonna balk at this?
I don't think so. Our rental rates are really cheap, and I don't think I realized that how cheap they were compared to other places. Now that we have such a nice space, we may end up looking at increasing those, but I don't think anyone would balk at this. But we'll see.
Mike, the second to the last line, you used the word may there. In the line. Any reason that is not will?
The only thought in my mind was whether the airport would actually pursue it. So
The may doesn't lessen the impact.
correct. No, they are responsible for any damages that they would cause here. But if, for example, we had a $150 deposit, we determined that there were $175 worth of damages, is Brian going to go file a small claim over an additional $25 of damages? He may. But he may say, all right, that doesn't make good business sense. So that, in my mind, that was what I was thinking of in terms of may, but I don't think it changes the fact that you could be held responsible, and perhaps that's you could be held responsible in the discretion of the airport, or if the airport elects to pursue it. I can work with Brian on maybe we can tweak that specific language a little bit. I think as long as you guys are comfortable with the general policy and approve the general policy of 150 and the steps that Brian's outlined, we can massage that a little bit if we need to.
It applies to both rooms.
We will apply to both. And we rent out to Cummins 3 or 4 days a week on the upstairs conference room. We will request this of Cummins probably for that upstairs conference room. But anything major, anything out of the ordinary, birthday parties, weddings, we have a lot that goes on down here, even conferences. But I think for our tenants who rent multiple times, I don't know that we would require that $150 policy.
So is there any issue with us not requiring that of everybody? In this case, is the policy more to satiate how the money is handled, not whether we do it or not?
I guess I would just having your policy apply to folks who are renting it, and if there are going to be exceptions, specify them within the policy. But I don't know that you want to get into a spot of having folks say, well, why did Brian take it from him, or not take it from him, but take it from me?
What if it just applied to the base, to the
Or
lower level?
what if we just add a sentence that says, airport management may waive the rental room policy for repeat renters? Something like that. Somebody's rented before and they've done good, you
Well,
can.
that sounds good, because, we have, the homeowners association that rents from us every
Right,
single month.
right.
And
I don't want to make us onerous, I just don't want to
Yeah.
put us in a position of unfairly being accused of being discriminatory.
with that change, I think.
And Dennis, on your question, maybe we do say will be responsible. I'm just thinking not even from the legal side, but just from when somebody reads it, I would much rather than read it and think I will be responsible than I may be. Just kind of the PR, how do they take it? So that regardless of what we do, it wouldn't hurt to say will down there.
Okay, so does anybody have any other comments or questions? Seems to me the title for this page should be deposit policy rather than rental and deposit policy. I mean, a minor point maybe. Okay. That's all it discusses.
Well, you talk about the rental fee right up front, so I think it makes sense the way it is.
And this'll obviously be an additional attached item to the rental. We have a 2-page rental policy as it is, maybe some 3-page rental policy as it is. But yes, we can change that.
Any other discussion on the rental policy?
I can't imagine if you get any pushback, then those are not necessarily the kind of renters we want to have. So this is pretty standard. You go anywhere else, you're going to pay a deposit.
I'll take a motion. You can include my amendment. Pardon me? If you would include my amended sentence. Did you catch his whole amendment? Did you have it written down?
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
I move we approve this rental and deposit policy with an amendment which we're going to waive for repeat.
Allows the airport management to waive.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That's right.
Waive the whole, for repeat renters. Maybe some other small verbiage changes.
I'll second. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Dennis. Okay. Discussion request for approval on disposal of airport items.
We have an equipment list here, so the building project now is wrapped up. We've been kind of storing all of the old furniture and items from the terminal building. As you can see there, I just pull out a couple of the major ones. Most of it is old furniture from the terminal building, whether those are couches, chairs, from the conference room or lobby. Probably the biggest one is the Ford Taurus, which was our old Airport 2 vehicle, which we no longer need. It's been sitting. We kind of set it to the side to see if we would utilize it all. We've not utilized it in the last
It was also given to the airport.
6 or 8 months, yeah, and they don't want it back. So, and a couple of it really just miscellaneous things. We do have a great deal of storefront doors, so those probably could be a very valuable item if someone's in need of that. The only thing that we might still utilize is the whiteboard from the old conference room, and maybe some chairs. I was going to talk to Tom and see if he had any need for additional chairs, because they're planning to set up some flight instruction area on that south side. So if he needs some chairs or maybe some of our tables from the old conference room.
Let's give Jeff their first crack at any of this.
Okay.
Charge.
Okay. So that's I guess that's kind of the. There you go.
Surplus. Good to bid that.
Aside from
By
that,
the same token, Andy or Top Job or whatever. I think.
If you would, I mean, I guess it's up to you as to the board as how you would like to dispose of these items. If you'd like for me to request Jeff Air or Top Flight or Andy if they have any usage of these items,
Give them first right.
would you like to set a fee at that, or would you like to give them? At this point, they're well outside of their useful life. We even talked about donating them to St. Susie because I don't know that you would get anyone to bid on them if we were to do it on an online. I think there are some things for an online that could be utilized in an online. The fluorescent light fixtures, I don't know how valuable those are, but certainly the Taurus would go on an online database. And I think that the storefront doors could really be valuable. Those things are very expensive.
If you have a.
So, yeah.
Let's give our tenants, our lessees, a first crack at it to help them, which helps us.
Okay.
And then the rest of it, put up for disposal.
And let Brian and I confirm in terms of any processes that we need to go through for that, just to make sure that we handle those dollars appropriately. That starts to get close to the Coke funds kinds of things. So we just want to make sure that we handle those.
Well, if we can't simply give them to them, then we lease them to them for $0.
We can figure out how to get there, but
Okay.
make sure we do it the right way.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we declare as a board these items to be surplus and disposable and allow the airport management
That's kind of the way I read Steve's comment anyway, so.
to dispose of them as they see fit through the process.
Right, through the appropriate process.
Can we do that at a zero value?
Yeah,
Mike?
sure.
Can we,
I mean,
We can just declare them excess.
because we don't get to use the money anyway if we take money in for it, so,
Well, it goes in the bank account.
yeah, well, yeah.
But we will have Mike, run through this process to make sure. It's ethically, it's very tiny, but ethically, it feels shaky to me.
I think if you as a board are comfortable making the determination that these are surplus items of no value to the airport, you guys, and that, Brian's directive is to try and dispose of those in the manner that best benefits the airport, so to speak. We'll verify, what's the appropriate process to go through to do that. What steps we have to go through to do that. And we'll try and make that work. And if not, we'll come back if it doesn't.
There are any dollars brought in, figure out where it comes from.
We've done this in the past with a couple of other pieces of equipment, put them on, there's a government surplus website that we put it on. No, it goes back into our general fund, just the airport's general fund. But I think one of them maybe even cost us money. We tried to do I think it was a light of some kind, and we thought it would bring some money, and I think it sold for $3, and it cost us $5 to list it on there or something, so it ended up costing us money. So some of these things may be that way, but these were things that we didn't throw anything, as you can tell, we didn't throw anything away during the process. We wanted to go through this proper channel to do so. I know the feeling.
Do we have to restate this proposal then? Pretty significant difference. I guess I would move that we make these items available to our airside business aircraft operations.
I don't think you
tenants.
can do that.
Yeah, we can't change it that significantly.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think if you guys can make a determination that they're surplus items, and Brian, and instruct Brian, we'll work through the process of figuring out then how can we dispose appropriately of the surplus items.
Let me infer what I do know, because we've done this before. It works.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works when you're giving things away. That may be a little different, but if there's any money exchange whatsoever, it's got to be some kind of bidding process.
Yeah.
So
I
I don't want to put us in a position. I mean, if we're going to give it all away, I think pending his review, we probably can pick and choose who we give things to.
Yeah.
But if anything on here is sellable, I don't think we can give anybody a first crack at it, even if it's a penny.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
true. We can't differentiate who can.
Correct. Everybody's going to have a chance to kind of bid through whatever process we
Yeah.
deem is appropriate. So
Yeah.
my suggestion was.
And I was inferring free, period, so.
He said there might be a couple items of value, so I'd hate to.
Do we want to call out the couple of items of value? Would that be a bigger benefit? And to say we're going to dispose of these on the government website and the rest we're going to dispose of it for no value?
So, I mean, the car and the doors.
The car, and I would say all of the doors, because even I think the wood doors have value to those as well. So we'll call those out. Carlos, do you have anything else for any of the rest of you? Do you think anything else is of value enough? Carlos runs our online bidding. So.
$40 at the most.
Yeah. And this doesn't have to be done today. If you guys want to take some time, we can table this, if not even to the next
Can you pull
meeting.
it out into two lists of something that's sellable?
We can just break it up here. The sellable is going to be the car and the doors. Everything else is.
Car and the what?
Doors.
Oh, yeah, because the old furniture's, you can't sell old
So
furniture.
everything else is disposable.
I think the light fixture probably
Yeah.
too, they could have value.
We'll find out.
up in
Put
the
them all
ceiling
over the door.
collecting spiders for 20 years.
Sorry, complicating your motion here, I know.
We're making this way too complicated here, right? It's a
Let's
bunch
just-
of junk.
Okay.
Let's just do the,
How about-
let's do the doors in the car, and, because I'll look and see if the light fixtures are of any value before we do something with them, and if they are, then we'll bring it back before you again. Talking with the guys who were installing the rest of the lights, they said these things, you can pick these things up anywhere, so. We'll see.
There's no way I'm making that motion. Brian, do you
Okay,
want to restart the
I'll
list?
do it. I'll move that we declare all of the items on this list disposable surplus that the airport management can dispose of how they see fit for no money, except for the cars and the doors, in which case they will be dealt with through a normal disposal process via pending input from Mike.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? I looked out there. Okay. We're done with new business, I think.
All
Let's
right.
move to the tower report.
Tower report. Ben is on vacation yet again. How that guy gets so much vacation? We had 3,270 operations in the month of April. It looks fairly good compared to some of the other months in the last year or so. And that actually also had some of our runway projects in it as well. Right now we're at a total of 11,520. So if you look back through 2012, we had 11,900. Then you got to go all the way back to 2003, before you get another number close at 12,954. So as far as operations, I think we're doing very well. We still continue to see more military operations. We've seen a lot of large aircraft operations lately, which Jeff Ayers been very happy about that. So 737s and C-17s, seems like quite a few of those operations in the last month. I can't tell you anymore.
Okay. Any questions?
What is the 737?
The military, that was bringing, I think they're bringing troops in and out of Atterbury, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yep. They upgraded bus numbers.
Council.
Facility out there. And used it to come from all across the country, so train to Edinburgh. I think the Navy's been going down to, whatever.
Muscatatuck?
Yeah. The speed limit is going to be another 130, bringing 50 million again.
Okay, attorney's report.
I don't have anything that we haven't already talked about.
Thanks, won't you?
There you go. Even Mike busy.
Farm manager's report.
You also had my main report. Basically, we've got pretty much all the crops in here on this here board. All the corn is in Wellsboro. Melon-wise, the east pivot is about half planted, all cantaloupe. Northwest pivot is 60 acres of watermelons are in, and then they'll be planting the rest of the cantaloupe short.
There's plastic over here on, this, plastic mulch over here visible from Mar, that's tomato?
No, over on the Bar Road?
Yeah.
No, that's melon.
Oh.
Yeah, all the melons are on plastic. So we've got, seems like 270 acres of black plastic out there.
Are you gonna pick that up when you're done?
No. They will, remember we talked about earlier, it is biodegradable. When they, after you get harvesting, they will cross disc all the plastic, chop up in about 2-inch pieces, and then it will disintegrate over the next year and a half or 2 years.
I mean, you are certain that's not polyethylene?
Yeah.
It's gonna be that. Okay.
It is biodegradable. I didn't know that, so.
All right. Hey, Brian
Brian's staff would take a long time to pick that stuff up.
But he said that the worker can do that.
Thank you, Dave. Engineers report.
Okay, construction has officially began, buildings completed. They started paving last Wednesday, they paved on Friday, and they were supposed to pave yesterday, got rained out. Found a few areas that I'm gonna ask them to remove, about 4 panels worth, and it's just some of the nuances of concrete. You got truck after truck after truck, shelving materials is producing the mix as fast as they can. Just looks like you got a bad mix in it, so it's really dry, cured really quick, got a lot of pops in it, so we're gonna get it removed. Everything's cracking right at the joint, that's a good sign. Everything looks really good. The curing results, beam breaks are in the 5 to 600 numbers, so that's good. That's about where we need to be. So everything's on track with that. Right now, I'm going to say we're at schedule. I'd like to say we're a little ahead of schedule, but I know we have a lot of rain coming up this week. That's going to push us behind a little bit. The tentative schedule is going to be finish paving today, prep tomorrow, Thursday go back and pave because I think we're clear Thursday as of now. And then Friday, Saturday prep because we can do some prep work in the rain. Monday, Tuesday, 4th, and that'll be your final 4s. Trying to get all the prep work done in the rain so we can do 2 days continuous back to back before be done with all the concrete. Coordinate a little bit with Chris. He has sent me some tentative dates as to when would be best for Cummins to do the intersection work. Right now, June 4th to 7th look the best for us. I need to nail down specific times with Chris, meaning is that 6 a.m. to when on the 7th. Contractor says they can get it done in those allotted times. We're comfortable, extending that out as much as humanly possible. This is going to cover anything. With that being said, also, June 1st, we open bids on the next phase. I anticipate the low bidder will be the contractor on site. We don't know what's going to happen, but if that is the case, I will probably hold off on the June 4th to 7th closure. Just so you're aware, because that should be before the next board meeting, and try to do everything in one week. And I've talked to Chris about this as well, because he would rather give us more time to get it all done in one shutdown versus 2. Is there any questions on the construction? I think you said last time, and you're finding that everything, the underneath, the base was really in good shape. So that saved a lot of time and a lot of expense, right? Absolutely. No surprises. No surprises. The concrete actually is in great shape, and you're going to have an extremely structurally sound, stiff pavement out there by the time we're all done. That concrete's between 10 inches thick to World War II, and you got 10 inches going right back on top. When you go out there, if you haven't already, what you're going to see is you'll see a lot of asphalt there. You'll see on the far edges, I don't want to get into why, we discussed it before, but far edges you'll see concrete. That concrete is in good condition. When they tried to crack and seat 99 through the asphalt and the concrete, there was only 2 spots that we really noticed they actually got cracked and seated. So everything's in good condition. There's no evidence of heating of that concrete. So our pavement analysis, going way back with you guys, we talked about how all those asphalt layers bonded. We're steel tight. Water comes in through there, goes into the clay wedge on the edge, and creates those heat install conditions. Okay, because that asphalt is unbonded, it can go through those layers. So the lesson learned is crack sealing is critical. It's always critical. Yeah, even on concrete pavements, it doesn't matter. It's critical regardless. We did a safety measure. We put in under drains on your airport. Honestly, everything we cut out there, there has never been water found. And all our geotech reports have never been water found. And I know from previous, it's 15 feet deep. This is a high water table season right now that we're in. So we should be seeing water, but there's nothing else. Okay, so under drains may be overkill, but it's a good safety net. If water does go through the surface, it has a place to go. Okay, it's not going to sit on the edge. That topsoil wedge.
Everything's going really good, really smooth. I'm really happy with construction. Today isn't my ideal day of paving. I'm not trying to get into the weeds, but it's windy. Anytime you have wind and concrete, you gotta really do a lot of finishing work behind the pavers. They got two crews of finishing guys out there. I even saw keyboards going. So that's good. I mean, at least they're ahead of it. What I mean by that is when wind goes across new concrete, it can cure that top layer of that concrete faster, creating surface crack. I'm not seeing any evidence of that right now because it's working really quick, but it is drying up. I got enough finishers out there. I'm comfortable. Anything exposes itself, it comes out. So that's it on construction. Unless you have any other questions.
Nice job, Nick.
Thank you. It's going great. With that, Reeve Riley submitted a pay application, and that's in the amount, I'm going to give you a total dollar amount, $220,562.62. Our resident engineer, as well as myself, have reviewed that. We've also reviewed to make sure they're meeting the Davis-Bacon wage scales, and they the local cost, because this is an AIP project, is $11,028.49. We would need a motion and approval for that to be able to move forward, so we can submit that to the FAA requesting that money to be sent to you to be able to pay the contract.
Questions? Take a motion.
So that's $11,000 you need the motion for.
Actually, no,
Local
I need a
cost.
motion for the 200, for us to be able to submit pay request number 2 to the FAA. That's all I need a motion for. You can say in the amount of $220,562.62.
So I would make a motion that we approve that cost of the $220,562.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And Jerry, just for you, that basically we have to ask the FAA for the money. It is a grant, but we ask them for the money, and then they submit it to the airport, or cuts that check to Brian. But your local portion of that is the $11,000. FAA funds 90% of the total, NDOT funds 5%. Repackaging plans, the second phase of construction is on the street. We've getting a lot of feedback. We have a pre-bid meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. if anybody wants to attend.
Do you think anybody other than Reeve Riley is going to bid?
Oh, we're getting calls. But honestly, I think it'll be Indy, Reeve Riley, same three. There's a local contractor that wants to attend the pre-bid tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. He's not done airport work though, so I'm not sure he's going to meet the federal spec requirements to that. Concrete's a little different than road spec. So that pre-bid's tomorrow morning. We're going to open bids June 1st. After that, the airport did get notified that the program funds in the amount of $2,250,000 are ready with the FAA. That's good. That's quick. Means we can turn around and get right into construction. They are trying a new software out that I'm not familiar with. Melanie Myers has not sent me any information on it just yet. To where they're going to be able to release that grant to you in days. It's supposed to be on that. So as soon as we submit all the grant application information to the FAA after we receive our bids, she reviews, she approves, and sends a trigger to this new system, and the grant automatically pops out the next day or whatever. So I said a week in here to give it a little bit of time frame because nobody's used it in the FAA office, and we certainly haven't used it. But that's how quickly this grant's going to be turned around. We don't have to wait till September like a normal year. So that's good news. Now, with that being said, though, I don't want to have a special meeting or we want to approve anything tonight, but I will have to formulate the bid tabulation, engineer's recommendation, after we receive these, and turn them around in 2 days after the bid open. I really want that in, they're all described. They're saying June 5th, so anytime that week I can actually get it in, but however you want to handle this before. You see what I'm saying? 'Cause I'll have to recommend the contractor, actually.
Yeah. What's the board want to do?
Do it.
Keep a special meeting or just authorize them to?
Authorize it. No reason to keep messing around with it. Nothing's gonna change.
Or I can coordinate with Michael in the process that week, if we plan accordingly, to make sure that Michael doesn't have any additional comments to it. However you want that.
So maybe the motion would be to authorize airport management to authorize the grant.
I'm sure we'll review the grant together and we'll get with Mike. I don't, at the end of the day, it's just all numbers, so I don't know if it necessarily as an airport board need to get back together and review it, but we'll be happy to send you any of the documents you need.
I will second your motion. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Okay, one more on that. We're not looking to start that second phase until after aviation. We gotta think of that. But if we rally is a little bit of all the shops. Signage update. We received an email from Michael Buning, he's a new engineer with the aviation. And said that they would supply I-5 signs free of charge. An I-5 sign is the sign you see at 12 inches maybe, square with an airplane on it. It's not what we're going for, I realize that, but just giving you this comment. A sheet sign is $250 to $500 a piece. Those are 18 to 30 inches approximately, and they can't have your name on this municipal airport on them from Michael Buning. I don't know how that would ever be visible if I'm driving down an interstate trying to read an 18-inch sign. The panel sign is the 6-foot signs like where it says IUPUC, Matterbury, all of that. It's a sign that size. And he gave me a range from $2,000 to $10,000 per sign, including maintenance fees because it's a lot of times those signs require a lot of maintenance. What is that maintenance fee? We do not know yet. I would like to continue discussions with NDOT, and I would also like to continue discussions with Peggy Welch, who's offered her support. And I'm meeting with her and the Lieutenant Governor on Friday anyway. And I'll overstep my bounds with the board if someone else would like to act on that. I don't understand why there should be necessarily a cost for those signs. I can understand some help in supporting that effort, but not necessarily the cost. So I like your opinions, your feedback on how you would like me to proceed with the signage. That's the response that we got to the letters we sent.
It makes all the sense in the world for you to, if you're gonna be meeting with anybody, why not take advantage of that opportunity? You can certainly speak more intelligently and in depth than any board member.
So what's the norm? Does IUPC pay for theirs, or Ivy Tech, or those people pay?
I do know they did not pay for their signs.
Well, we should be.
Well, that's a conversation, I'll take it later. Make sure.
Good luck.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, FBO report.
We're continuing to make progress with Top Flight Aviation. They're sign their lease and they're begin painting and process. They're redoing the floor and they'll probably we moved in probably in June, and, but they're making progress. We're making progress with, moving Eagle Avionics to the east hangar, and he's been working on the lights and getting that cleaned up so he can move his shop over there, and he's pretty excited about that. The current, holdup on that is the roof on the office area that has to be redone, and, we have a bid to, replace that roof, and, we're solution for that right now. And hopefully by the next board meeting, we're working out to where we're going to request that we can put up do the roofing.
Well, it already happened about 20 minutes ago, so you're good to go.
Okay.
We were going to let you ask again.
Brian was sitting over there trying to shut me up. Okay, well, that's good. We're good. Then, just a fuel report, for the month of April, we sold 3,515 gallons of 100 low lead, which is even, that includes 600 gallons we sold ourselves. That was an 89% increase over March for, low lead sales. And, Jet A, we sold, 29,754 gallons, which is a 74% increase over March. We had a C-17, we had, I think 4, C-40s, 737s in here for fuel and troops and so forth, and, so we've had a busy month, and, it's been an exciting month. We've, covered a lot of new ground and learned a lot of things in the process, learned how to do lab service, things like that. So that's the end of our report. Well, no, we got one more thing. When you go out, and I hope they haven't moved it, we took on delivery of a new 5,000 gallon refueler. It's refurbished, but it's new to us. It looks like a new truck, and we felt the 3,000 gallon truck just wasn't sufficient enough, especially the things we had in the military. We took 4,700 gallons, and we had to refuel 3 times to get that done. We'll be able to do that with one city.
Is this a replacement or addition?
Replacement. The 3,000 gallons gone. Now we put it on the truck and shipped it out of here. Say what? No, you were so we're excited about all that and progress that's being made.
Thank you. Any other questions?
We continue to get excellent comments about services, quality.
Financial report.
Well, the financial report looks somewhat similar as it did last month. We didn't have a chance. Fortunately, Melinda left to run those proper numbers for you in that 02 and 03 category. But again, the 02s look like we expended more because of that $80,000 that they put in and we took out for the self-fuel farm to make the non-reverting accounts. But overall, we're still doing well. It's going to be tight at the end of the year, as we all have been talking about. But we've been trying to limit the amount of expenses as most as possible, and we'll continue to do that until we got an over and clear here. The cash balances, you can see, well, way down slightly. Again, that we had a $300,000 to Maxwell just last month, so that's why it a little bit. But we all anticipated that, and obviously again with the $128,000 to Maxwell again for the terminal building construction project, it may slip slightly next month. Carrying on with the P&L, as you can see, some of those numbers. Steve had asked me a question earlier about what the TFR line item is. That's the transfer. So essentially, that's our encumbered money that we wanted to set aside. So like the 3,996 was for chemical for the runway, and a couple of those, the consulting services for 10,000. That was for the SPCC and the SWIP update. And then obviously the 753 was for the terminal building project. So you put those in, our budget looks a little bit different, that budgeted versus the combined, and that combined takes into account those transferred items. As a whole for the year, we're down 160,000 for the year, but again, that's with the terminal project coming in pretty significantly already. I'd say we're still doing pretty well. Any questions about where we're at? P&L. Continuing on our self-fuel farm, we had not taken on any additional fuel since February. Last month we sold 1,728 gallons of 100 low lead in 53 transactions. So for the year to date so far, we've sold just over 4,000 gallons. We still have 7,000 gallons in the tank, so I don't anticipate to take on any additional fuel at this point. Fuel prices have been on the rise slightly. I'd say we are about 50 cents maybe over where we were the last time we purchased, but still within reason. Net projected profit as of this year so far is $1,000. Okay, on to the farm profit and loss statements. We haven't received anything or paid anything in the month of May, so you still look at the end of April numbers here at 122,000 up. Steve had asked me earlier if that's kind of where we're at typically in the course of a year, and I believe it is. Most of our money comes in towards the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken, right? Oh, that's right. So that's it for the financials, unless you have questions.
Brian, back on the fuel, just to look at the sales by month, it looks like a rapid increase in our sales. Should I consider that to be seasonal?
Yes.
We're getting out.
No, it really is seasonal. I think you're always going to find January and February to be low months. We did decrease the price of our at the pump, decrease the price of 200 low lead right around the same time the terminal building project was completed. And again, that was kind of just to push some people to come into the terminal building, maybe spread that word a little bit. We'll keep that up until we see the 100 low lead prices starting to go up, and we need to move up with the prices. But right now, we're still making a good amount of money on our purchase.
On a typical weekend, I'll be out here, especially when it's warm, we're out here, and you'll hear on the radio, somebody radioing in. And then they get here, and they basically say, unfamiliar with the airport, directly to the self-fuel farm. There, they'll fill up, and they'll take back off and leave. And I think, we've seen a lot of that. It's people who specifically would never have come here unless they could fill up with cheap gas. They went online and found the cheapest place in the area. Oh, it's at the tower, and there's a restaurant over there. Some people who use the airport, but a lot of things are there.
Obviously, the goal of those people is to turn over and to come into the terminal building, see our remodel that we had done, hopefully go to the restaurant at that point. We make some additional funds that direction as well.
Okay, any questions? Assistant airport manager's report.
Is that at some point when maintenance past month. We're heavily involved in kind of finishing up the terminal project. It's a lot after a lot of stuff. It's been discussed already. They should have been installed by now, but the contractor had some issues. We decided to stick with them. Signage for the terminal building, placed on order. It's nothing major, but it's a rewrap.
Actually, it's a rewrap of the sign that's out in near the door. Yeah, sorry. Out near the road, yeah, in the field, it's a rewrap of that one.
Lettering for the terminal building and the address and some final first time in a long time we don't have any equipment issues to worry about. And good news to the team. So as of today, as of right now, one person on the waiting list.
We've had some significant turnover in the amount of employees. Just our part-time guys, a couple of those got full-time positions, so they were done. We've had a couple of cleaning people in and out. So you see some ads that we're running for part-time personnel. We're still in need. So if anybody knows anybody that has a need for some part-time either airport maintenance or in housekeeping, we're still in need of those positions to be filled. So we're not quite as up on mowing on the land side and the air side that we typically are at this point, but it's because we're just really short-staffed right now. Our 2 summer interns did start just this week full-time, so hopefully we can pick up on all those. It looks a little shabby out there.
Brian, you keep the waiting list for the DA in your office. Is that readily available?
Carlos can say it.
See that? Public documents, right?
Mike Boucher is still on.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to find that list.
Great job on those minutes. That's really good.
Caleb, I'm going to preempt the start of the airport director's report because he sneaked part of this in at the tail end of his report. This last Saturday at Ivy Tech Community College, our airport Mr. Brian Payne was awarded an honorary degree reflecting the amount of work that he had put in and helping to create, running the committee that created the aviation programs now in place at Ivy Tech. It also reflected the amount of effort he's put into getting the annex going, student housing, which is now open for reservations as of a few days ago. So Brian, thank you.
Well done.
Brian, when did you say these interns started?
Yeah, as of last Friday, there were 6, but there's a total of I think it's 70 or 71 Cummins interns particularly right now. But again, that's open up to any Columbus-based company that has interns throughout the summer, and they're able to house those there. So whether that's SIHO or CF, whoever it is as long as they're Columbus-based companies, they can have their interns staying there during the season.
Is this Columbus-based, not Fredonia?
Oh, we call that in the lease. It was Columbus-based. So that's how the lease was written. But thank you. And then I guess also with maybe Dr. Combs.
So appreciative. We also need to recognize that actually received a degree as well on Saturday. Many of you may or may not know. He was awarded the photography. Another one of your peers to the operators,
Thanks, Dr. Combs.
Dr. Combs.
All right, well, we'll continue on here with the director's report. So number one, the student housing sidewalk project was finished on time and within budget.
Under budget.
Well, yeah, that's right, because we put an overage on it.
No, there was a $10,000 change order today deduct for material costs.
Wow, look at that, I didn't even know it.
It's like 70,000 total.
It was? Wow.
The part of the
That's
site
really
was
good.
excellent too.
Yeah.
Really well.
Yeah, what's surprising so much is that company was like half of what others were during the bidding process. So we were a little bit worried we might get hit with something that we weren't aware of, but under budget. Well, that's terrific.
Yeah,
So-
the student housing ribbon cutting picture was in the paper, I think this morning.
Oh, was it?
As the chamber had.
I'll
I
have
think
to
it was this morning.
go back and look. Yeah, we did have that student housing ribbon cutting. I appreciate the airport board members that attended. I think it's turned out really great. Hopefully, that'll fill up very soon. The AI quarterly meeting we held on April the 16th. Dr. Combs was there. Appreciate his attendance, and I think all of the airport board members were there at one point or another. People from AAI were saying it was the most memorable quarterly meeting we've ever had. Certainly, thanks to our staff for setting that up. Carlos did a terrific job for setting up the ARF with the fire department. We've never done anything from an AI quarterly standpoint, never done anything to that extent. So people were really excited about what it is that we
Lifeline's not going to send us a bill for that run.
What kind of?
That was nice. I sat there and thought, that's $25,000 coming. Hopefully they're doing that.
I take it that the feedback on the terminal remodel was fairly positive from what you said.
Oh, very positive. Yeah, very positive. We had so many great speakers that day too, between the terminal building projects, and the aviation operations program, student housing. What do you? Yes, everything went very well. So the terminal project, again, there are still a few things to fix. We've got a couple of small leaks, and the restroom, one of the toilets in the restroom needs to be moved. A couple of small minor things. We are holding the retainage of $38,144 until all items are completed to our satisfaction. We had a total of $9,559 or $95 in change orders for the project, though.
So about less than 1.5%.
Less than that.
It was about $750,000 project.
We were pleased. At the end of the day, I think the change orders that we had to do, the change orders that we did were very positive. We certainly didn't do anything that we didn't do anything just because. We kept their feet to the fire the whole time. The RFP for Whalesboro is now active. It's on the internet and the airport site. We've dispersed out several of those. The airport, I think you may have received the final copy. I hope you did at least. The airport is now at least taking the lead on all of those discussions and all of the roles of this RFP process. So, as we go through this, you'll see that everything will be directed to the airport instead of the downtown. Aviation Day planning is going very well. Still looking for more sponsors as always, but we're really looking forward to making this event really terrific this year. The balloon glow the night before, I don't know if I've really talked about it here that much, but we're having a balloon glow the evening before Aviation Day, so this will be June the 12th. Starts at 7 o'clock. We've got a live band. We're going to have a New England boil. So it'll have shrimp and corn, but we're also going to have crawfish, lobster tail, and clams, I believe. But it's going to be a really good dinner. I think there's going to be some appetizers, also some desserts. We're going to obviously have the balloon glow. And Chris, thanks for setting all of that up. That's probably start right around 9 o'clock, and they'll burn for about an hour. So we anticipate that the event will be over about 10. We'll be back early the next morning with Aviation Day starting at 7 and running until 4 that next day. This is to gain money, to make sure that Aviation Day remains a free event for the general public. So it is to go to. It's $75 per person. And if anybody's interested in tickets, you can get them from Melinda, although she's not here today. But feel free to get them to Melinda. We're limiting to the first 250 tickets. So buy them now. Upcoming meetings, you can see the whole list of them there. The only two that I think we need probably board member participation on or really need board member participation on are the items number 2 and number 3. So if you can check your schedule on particularly item number 3 that we need at least 3 board members present. Outside of that, you're welcome to attend any of the rest. And that would be it. Thank you.
Brian, hearing is here.
Public hearing is here in the terminal building in the basement at 2 o'clock on the 19th, or on the 18th. And that's to call out that economic development project.
Questions for Brian? Public remarks? Going once. You're adjourned.